choice. Chris and the guys on the Bolo Punch Boxing Hour on SportsJuice.com.
I wanna rock!
We are back live at the Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Roby Insurance. We're live at the Golden Leaf, 651 in Hobart, the finest cigar shop in all the land. Timmy, the producer, Patterson, please let our listeners know how they can get in touch with us tonight.
Hit us up on the hotline. It is 219-743-9743. The Yahoo Instant Messenger is up and running. It is keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, all one word. Or you can send us an email, which I checked throughout the show. It is bolopunchboxinghour@yahoo.com.
We've got the fighting school teacher, gentleman Jimmy Holmes, is going to be on the show in about 30 minutes. We'll be getting him on live on the telephone, live from his estate in DeMott, Indiana. Real quick, I want
his estate.
Big damn house. That is an estate.
With a vet in the garage.
Yes. Ruslan Shagev, who is the WBA heavyweight champion, is, he was hurt. He was going to be fighting Sultan Ibragimov on October 13th, but he reportedly got some hepatitis B, and there were some weird talks about his back might be hurt. We didn't really understand what the whole situation was, but now he is going to be fighting again, and now he's okay all of a sudden, and he's going to be fighting, his name is Skelton. What is this guy's first name?
Red?
I do not, no, it's not Red. Matt Skelton he's a German, of England. Matt Skelton on January 19th in Dusseldorf, Germany. Dusseldorf, Germany, if I'm not mistaken, is where Augustus Gloop was from.
I believe you're correct.
Where did Augustus Gloop fight out of? He didn't fight, dude. He was the fat kid on Willy Wonka.
Oompa Loompa man over there?
Yeah, he was the fat guy on it.
I was trying to. I'm here trying to think where he was from. I know he wasn't a fighter. But
No. He was the fat kid that won the golden ticket, and he got sucked up through the pipe of chocolate.
Yeah, he fell in the chocolate
river. So, talk to me a second, Emil. He's set to do a unification fight against Sultan Ibragimov, this champion Ruslan Shagev, who outpointed Nikolai Valuev. He's a little heavyweight, but he smacked around Valuev and outpointed him and won the WBA championship.
A very slick boxer. I mean, all heavyweights have a little bit of power. He could actually be on this list for someone that could win without having power.
Yeah.
But he's a very slick boxer, just like a lot of the Russian fighters. They know how to box.
So he's all set to fight Ibragimov on October 13th, but then he pulls out because supposedly his back was hurt and he had some hepatitis. A mild case of hepatitis B, which I don't know anything about mild cases of hepatitis, but whatever.
I don't know much about hepatitis. I can't really comment too much.
Now all of a sudden he's okay, though. He's not going to be fighting Sultan Ibragimov anymore. He's going to be fighting Matt Skelton, who is a 40-year-old former kickboxer.
There's a lot of former kickboxers and Thai boxers and all that.
Yes, he's 40.
It's a safe fight, and he's coming back off a couple illnesses here.
Do you have any reason to believe that he really had those ailments and just didn't want to fight Ibragimov?
Don't you think he would have came back against somebody else that's a little bit bigger name and not quite as safe as fight, where he can make a little bit more money instead of fighting this 40-year-old kickboxer?
I would think I would think he'd want to fight for someone really safe. I think he was scared to fight Ibragimov.
But he's not going to get the same kind of money out of this fight that he would if he would have fought Ibragimov.
If he was worried about money, maybe. He's got a few years. He's not an old guy.
I think his consideration at this point was at least getting one win before he in his title defense before he actually had to give it up.
So against a 40-year-old former kickboxer.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Well, I think Kimbo Slice is next for him, isn't it?
Jesus.
Kimbo Slice might beat him.
Kimbo Slice
might knock his eye out.
Right out of his skull, maybe. Jesus. Oh, jeez. Next week, I believe it is Tuesday, the International Boxing Hall of Fame of Canastota, New York is going to be announcing their 2008 Hall of Fame class. One guy that we know is going in is Larry Holmes, one of the greatest, probably top 5 heavyweight champion of all time.
So it's time to get on eBay and start looking for these guys that we're naming off right now.
I'm going to tell you right now.
'Cause if you wait until almost June, their stuff definitely, it'll be on there, but it'll go up quite a bit.
It'll be expensive. Larry Holmes stuff is a dime a dozen right now. As of next week, it will probably double in the base price, the starting price on eBay, because he'll be there and he's an autograph machine.
And actually, the next guy that you're going to say,
Larry loves to sign.
Oh man,
the next guy that you're about to announce had a program on there last week for it was $5 plus the $5 shipping and handling.
You wait and see what it is after next week.
And it was the kind of program that I like. It was an artwork program.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Prince Nassim Hamed. Whether he belongs in the Hall of Fame at all is up for debate.
Yeah.
Whether he belongs on the dais with the likes of Larry Holmes, most definitely up for debate. Does he belong in? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. He was a flashy fighter, brought a lot of fans out, just mainly because of his entrances to the ring.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He was so awkward in the ring. That's what made. I mean, no one cares how he came to the ring. That can't be how you get in. Obviously, you have to win fights.
He was a flashy fighter, though. He didn't mind getting hit every once in a while, just as long as he could show off a little bit.
He was very difficult to find in that ring. He used every inch of that ring. He kept his hands very, very low, and he was all over the place. Plus, he's from...
He kept his hands low and his chin high.
Yeah, he did everything that a mixed martial artist is not supposed to do. He's originally from Yemen. I don't know any other Yemenis fighters.
Well, that's another thing with him. This is the International Boxing Hall of Fame. There's not as many international fighters. A lot of fighters that are in there are from the U.S. It brings a guy from another land in.
True. I mean, I guess I'm not really against him going in, because there are fighters that have accomplished less that are in, and I'm not slamming the Hall of Fame. I love the Hall of Fame. We all do. I mean, they take really good care of us. But there are fighters that you got to look through the prism at just the right angle to really see why they're in there.
Yeah, but that happens with a lot of the Hall of Fames.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. Also, it looks like now the next 3 are guesses on my part. Larry Holmes and Prince Nassim are all but guaranteed.
Okay.
Larry Holmes is a lock. Okay. Prince Nassim, probably. That's a big time probably. The next 3 are guesses on my part. Actually, 2 of the next 3 are guesses on my part. One of them is a guess by our good buddy Pete Perry. He says that Donald the Cobra Curry is up. And I believe he's been up for a little while now, but he heard from an undisclosed source that he's actually going to be on the ballot. So I don't know. He's shown up a couple of times to the Hall of Fame. Donald Curry was a decent champion. He, quoting Pete Perry though, his time in the limelight was rather short. He accomplished quite a bit. He had a really good record when he retired, but he did not. He wasn't in the limelight all that long.
Well, those guys that show up to the Hall of Fame and do the pre fist casting and all that.
Oh yeah, they love.
Like last year, Buster Douglas was there. He has a good chance to get in, and he doesn't have the kind of accolades that you would think that would get you into the Hall of Fame, but he does have one over the biggest fighter of his era,
yeah.
And that alone would probably get him in, much like Ken Norton.
Do you think Buster Douglas belongs in, Nestor?
If Ken Norton's in, I think he...
You know what? With Norton being in there, I really believe Buster Douglas belongs in. I think if you're going to go by accolades, I think you've got to go that route.
Problem is, Kenny Norton never beat Muhammad Ali when he was the champion.
No, he didn't. And
which is something that I screwed up on last week, too. I said that it was a title fight the first time that...
Well, here's something, and I've kind of said about the Hall of Fame, too, is they look for guys that do stuff for the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
And I think, so,
ambassadors of the sport.
Yeah, and I think some guys that are questionable that show up to the Hall of Fame, I think their votes go up because of the fact they show up to the Hall of Fame. So I don't know if that's exactly fair, but I think it's, you got to do what you got to do for the Hall of Fame itself too to keep it going.
Well, a lot of that has
I'm with you there, Tim.
A lot of that has to do with the guys that vote are there every year, and if you show up, it brings you fresh into their mind.
What's that called? Out of sight, out of mind?
Yeah.
Also, I do believe that Rafael Ruelas is up for ballot possibilities here. I believe his work as a champion was a big enough deal to warrant him actually going in. The Mexican fighters, they love the Mexican fighters in Canastota. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh,
it's
not just Canastota. They love Mexican fighters anywhere. Well, I love watching them fight as well.
Oh, Yes, that's true. But as far as the judges, they really love the Latino fighters, and in particular the Mexican fighters. So I believe Rafael Ruelas will probably go ahead and get in this year. And this is my long shot pick. I'm going for the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. Ferdy Pacheco, doctor. They referred to him as the fight doctor.
Yeah.
He was a ringside commentator. He was also one of the ring guy, one of the cornermen for Muhammad Ali. He has seen this sport from every conceivable angle, and on top of everything else, he happens to be a really one hell of a sports artist. And the Boxing Hall of Fame in recent years has shown quite a liking to big-time boxing artists. You've got Leroy Neiman just got inducted last year, and by the way, since he didn't show up last year due to an illness, I believe he's going to go ahead and make it there this year. You had Bill Gallo from the New York Times 3 years ago, actually, as an illustrator, got in. Really, really great artist. I've got a couple of his books at home. Also last year, Tad, who was those were his initials. I don't know his actual name, but he signed every drawing. Tad, very, very big deal. I know Don Scott of BCN right now is just smacking his hands together or clapping at the computer because he's like, Tad got mentioned on the Bolo Punch show. But I'm talking an artist that died, 50, 60 years ago. This is a big time, old timer fight artist.
Well, the Hall of Fame always tries getting somebody in, almost every year tries to get somebody in that didn't necessarily fight. They've had Burt Sugar and then all these artists.
Lots of observers.
Yeah.
Lots of observers, trainers. That's what they're called, non-participants or observers.
Yeah.
And I see Dr. Ferdy Pacheco actually going in this year. That's just me.
So when are we up for induction?
When are we up for induction? We're never going to be in the Hall of Fame. I can just put that to bed right now, mister.
That's a lock.
You truly will never need to worry about what should I wear at the dais.
We'll set up a Bolo Punch Boxing Hour Hall of Fame. We'll all be inducted first year.
Yeah, first ballot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even vote for you.
Sorry, Tim, you don't get my vote.
It's all right. I run the webpage. I'm sure I'll be in.
Let's take a really quick break, and we'll come back with all the fights that happened this past weekend. It's your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.hssp.cc, sportsjuice.com.
Gosser Corporate Sale.
We are back live. This is Headbangers Ball, brought to you by BoloPunchBoxingHour.com, www.hssp.cc, sportsjuice.com. I'm your host, Chris Kuzman. Emil Soda Popinski Kegaman on my left, Nestor Garza Romero on my right, and Timmy the producer Patterson is going to let us all know how our listeners can get in touch with us tonight.
Hotline is open. It is 219-743-9743. Yahoo Instant Messenger is up and running. It is keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, all one word. Or you can send us an email at bolopunchboxinghour@yahoo.com.
I'm here at the updates desk, and Sunday night in Quezon City, Philippines, junior featherweight action. Ray Bautista won a 12-round unanimous decision over Antonio Meza.
I do got to correct you. It's not really the updates desk. It's kind of like the past news desk. Updates will be later.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. Well, Chris kills Tim. And we'll be back in just
We'll give you an update on that
Scores
fight.
of Ray Bautista, Antonio Meza, 118 to 110, 117 to 111, and 116 to 112. Bautista moving up, 24-1 with 17 knockouts. Meza moving down to 23-4, 16 knockouts.
Yeah, Batista's one of the top prospects out of the Philippines. Coming off that loss from Ponce de Leon, he probably got in there a little bit too quick with him. And
the term that Dan Raphael uses is smoked. Rolled and smoked by Ponce de Leon.
yeah, Mesa's won his last 5 fights. He ends up losing this one. Batista's he's a talented fighter. I don't know. He's number 10 in Ring Magazine, ranked number 10 right now at the junior featherweight ranking. I don't know if he's ready to fight Ponce de Leon again. Ponce de Leon just hit so hard that he'll probably end up catching Bautista, who Meza caught quite a few times. Did not win very many rounds. One of the judges had him winning as many as 4 rounds, I think it is. I don't know if he won that many. I only had him winning about 2. I watched this fight on YouTube. It was a YouTube special. It's kind of cool because it wasn't broadcast here in the States, so that was basically the only way that I was going to get to see it.
I cannot admit to having seen that fight. So,
Well, it's on the YouTube site, so if you want to...
if you want to check it out, it's easily
It's
found.
on the
right
bottom.
there.
It's down there.
It's on the bottom. Saturday night, Meshantucket, Connecticut, light heavyweight action. Antonio the Magic Man Tarver, TKO victory in the 4th round over Danny Santiago. Santiago moves down to 29-4-1, 19 knockouts. Antonio Tarver moves up to 26-4 with 19 knockouts as well. Both have 19 knockouts. They're calling this a mismatch. Kind of knew how this was headed.
Yeah, Santiago was the guy that was on the contender that didn't make the weight. He weighed like 190 when he came in, and couldn't get. They found out actually.
Had to get down to 167.
Well, they actually found out he had some kind of medical problem, and that's why he couldn't get down to weight. That's why he weighed so much.
So they put him in with Tarver. There you go.
Yeah, it was pretty much.
That's
He
how
was.
you protect your fighter.
He was supposed to fight. What was it? Tarver was supposed to fight Green. I can't
Yeah.
remember the first guy, first name, but that fight ended up getting canceled because of health problems, and they basically throw Santiago into the wolves, and Tarver drops him early in the 4th. Smoker basically stops it early. It stops it when he should have.
Love Steve Smoker.
Yeah, he usually lets the fighters go as long as they possibly can go without being severely hurt. And Tarver's looking to be on the undercard for the Dawson-Glenn Johnson fight here later on this year. He's going to be fighting Jeff Lacey.
That's if Lacey gets past Peter Manfredo, which I believe he's going to. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's on the undercard of the Mayweather-Ricky Hatton fight this weekend.
So we got plenty of that kind of thing to talk about. Junior middleweight action: Vernon Forrest TKO victory in the 11th round over Michele Piccirillo. He retains his junior middleweight championship of the world. Vernon Forrest, 40-2, 29 knockouts. He has 2 losses, and they're both to Ricardo Mayorga. That's just weird. That's weird to say.
Yeah, well, that had to do with that shoulder injury, both of them. The second one he looked a lot better in. The first one he said he had a shoulder injury pretty bad. And
he still took the fight.
In the second one he still had the shoulder injury and ended up taking, 2 years off to get that corrected. Since that time, he's looked pretty good here against Piccirillo. Piccirillo really took a lot of punches. Ended up making Forrest not look as good as he could have looked in this fight. But, I mean, Vernon Forrest came back and won against Baltimore, won that belt in July. It wasn't Baltimore seems to be fading quickly. He was on Telefutura a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did not look good on there at all. Forrest...
He's got a win over Gotti.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like a spent Gotti either.
No, Gotti and Zab Judah as well. That was the big upset.
Oh, yeah.
Piccirillo, though, being the number 1 contender, there's a question there. I don't know how he got ranked number 1 on by WBC. That's kind of a weird thing when you say.
I like Michele Piccirillo, though. That is the guy. There's a lot of Mayorga being brought up here. Piccirillo was the champion when Mayorga won the belt, and that happened in Chicago. I was there for that. That was a really good night of fights. But anyway.
Yeah, well, obviously Forrest wants to get back in there with Mayorga. That's what all the talk is. I don't know if that's who he's going to get in with right away.
If I'm Mayorga, I'm never giving him a rematch.
Oh, I'll give him one, but you don't have to give it to him right now. There's plenty of other ways for Mayorga to get money right now. After he had that big win against Vargas, he doesn't have to get in there with Forrest. That fight's going to come no matter what.
He's already got 2 wins over him. He doesn't ever have to fight him again.
No, but he can fight him again and get a payday out of it. So, and Mayorga does need money. He's seen the circumstances that he's in. So it's a payday that he doesn't have to take right away. He can wait a little bit. Might not make Vernon Forrest very happy, but he can do that if he wants.
Vernon Forrest will get the low end of the money stick on that one, and he better. He better. I don't care how many belts Vernon Forrest brings to the table either. He better get the low end of the money, because if you fight a guy that has 2 wins over you already, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear if Vernon Forrest beats him and they want to go 4 times. Then maybe I could see money parity, but I want to see Mayorga win, get more money than Vernon Forrest in their, and that will not be a rubber match either. That will simply be their third fight because Mayorga's already beaten him twice. Flyweight action, Nonito Donaire, TKO victory in the 8th round over Luis Maldonado. He retains a flyweight championship of the world. Donaire still only one loss, 19-1 with 12 knockouts. Maldonado moving down to 37-2-1 with 28 knockouts.
Yeah, Donaire's most known for that win over
Darchinian,
where he knocked him out. That could be knockout of the year. Definitely candidate for upset of the year. And I mean, there's Lovemore or what's his name, Dingling, man, had that great knockout. It's hard for me to put anything above that, but
that was outstanding. He about killed that guy.
I would not be surprised if Donaire ends up winning upset of the year against Darchinian, because Darchinian was very highly rated. He was squeaking into the top 10 pound for pound, and ends up getting caught. Darchinian wants the knockout, wants the rematch pretty bad, and it's all up to Donaire. Donaire actually talked about this about Darchinian because they both knocked Maldonado in the same round, in the 8th round, and he wanted to knock him out before Darchinian did. But we were talking about Mexican fighters earlier. Maldonado, he proved that he had that style. He was cut early and early on in the fight by both eyes. What Dan Rafael called it a bloody mask by the end of the 2nd round there, and he fought through it. You gotta love those Mexican fighters. They get hit once hard and they march straight forward and fight some more. And
that's their deal. That's their deal.
And that's what we love to watch. That's why he's in there. I don't know. There's a lot of guys at this weight class, including Arce, who was on this card as well.
Martin Castillo, Mijares. There are some big names, bloodthirsty guys ready to tear some stuff up.
Yeah, Arce wasn't on this card, but he fought this weekend.
No, I just mean in that division, around that weight class. Saturday night, Albuquerque, New Mexico, junior middleweight action. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. knockout in the very 6th round. I said that crap last week too. The very 6th round against Ray Sanchez III. Chavez Jr. still undefeated, 34-0-1 with 27 knockouts. He only needs about 80 more fights to get as many fights as his dad did.
Yeah. But they love him there.
They go crazy for him. Well, I mean,
and he's one of the top ranked. This was a top ranked pay-per-view, and he's quickly becoming one of Top Rank's top guys. Of course, they have Kelly Pavlik, who's all over. I mean, he's on the cover of Ring Magazine this month, and has been on there a couple times recently since the Taylor win. But Chavez is. I mean, they said 6,077 people were there, and every one of them was chanting for Chavez. The announcers couldn't hear each other talking. The referee actually stopped once for the 10-second count because he thought it was a bell. Chavez looked fairly decent in this one. I think he could have looked a little bit better than he did against Sanchez. Sanchez gave him a little bit taste of his own medicine there, hitting a couple big power punches, fighting in front of a home crowd. Yeah. Part of the noise was for Sanchez as well, because his people were behind him as well. I had him winning actually a couple of those rounds early on too. They don't have the scores here in front of us because it was a knockout, but it looks like we're going to look forward to Chavez going on to fight Baltimore, who we brought up earlier, which is getting to be a little bit safer fight. But
Chavez is going to be fighting Alfonso Gomez.
Well, he wants to fight Alfonso Gomez, but before that fight actually happens on January 26th, they're saying he'll probably headline another pay-per-view.
So they are talking about him actually fighting Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore.
He'll have a win over Baltimore.
Yeah, he'll fight Baltimore first. As long as he wins that, then he'll probably go on to fight Gomez. The Baltimore basically fallen to be a warm-up opponent now.
Tim got some really good action shots of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at the Dia de los Dias.
No, that was actually me taking those photos at the what do you call it, David Diaz, Eric Morales fight. That's where he fought.
Was it on the undercard of that?
Yeah, that was where. I know they were both in Chicago, but I remember
they were only a month apart. Holy crap! That was really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Timmy's asleep over there anyway.
I remember
our big fight was John Reese and then the Mike Molo fight. Those were our two big fights on the undercard.
Yeah. Bantamweight action: Jorge Arce TKO victory in the very first round. Now, actually, the word "very" actually fit right there. That's good.
First round, not only very first round, very first 48 seconds.
Medgoen Singsurat, Putsuat. Arce, 48-4-1, 37 knockouts. Singsurat, 48-5 with 34 knockouts.
Yeah, Singsurat is known for the knockout win over Pacquiao. Pacquiao doesn't have very many losses, and that was the guy that beat him. Now, he got in here with Arce. He didn't really have a chance to hurt Arce because Arce never got hit in this fight. Arce only basically landed 2 punches and knocked his man out pretty quickly. Like I said, 48 seconds. And I think Arce could fight this week if he wanted to because he's still in good shape and he didn't get hit. But looks like Arce is looking to fight Castillo on February 16th on the undercard of the Kelly Pavlik Jermaine Taylor card on the HBO pay-per-view.
Man, I cannot wait for that stuff. They are continuing with the big, important fights, the fights that people care about. I don't know what it was with the first half of 07, but it seemed really lame compared to the second half of 07, and it's spilling right into 08. We've got some really great fights coming your way. Junior flyweight action. Ivan Calderon won a 12-round unanimous decision over Juan Esquer. He retains his World Junior Flyweight Championship of the World, 118 to 110, 116 to 112, and 115 to 113. Calderon still undefeated, 30-0 with 6 knockouts. That's not many knockouts at all. Esquer 21-1, 15 knockouts.
Yeah, this is definitely a guy that's not going to be on our list for biggest punchers. He'll be on the other list that we have for guys that are
that
good.
Need some power.
Yeah, that can win without needing power actually, and he's moving up here in weight a little bit. I think it's 108 now or 105. I don't know. They're so light, but the 3 or 4 pounds they're saying is actually making a difference when they're so light.
108, huh?
Dan Raphael actually calls him Puerto Rican's version of Willie Pep. I mean, before he moved
His
up here,
ability to move is astounding. We need to fly through the rest of these. I'm getting the. You need to take a break now?
It's 9 o'clock. So hurry it up.
All right. Alfredo Angulo scores a first-round TKO over Archak Termiliasan. Angulo still undefeated, 11-0 with 8 knockouts. Friday night, Brownsville, Texas. Your boy Campos fought a man who is 6'11", who's now 6'11-1 with 3 knockouts. Fernando Vela. Your boy Campos fought his he's fought over 100 times.
Yeah,
now.
and this was a bad fight. I don't believe that Telfacher actually aired this.
Don Charlton is a Hall of Famer. And all over the net I've been reading. I mean, Raphael's just one of several people that have been saying, what in the world did Don Charlton do? I mean, he's a Hall of Fame promoter, yet he put this fight on.
Yeah, a guy that's only had, 17 fights, fighting a guy that's over 100 fights and only winning, 6 out of 6. His record's 6-11-1.
Well, he's had 17 fights. That's great. If he'd have won all 17, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, that's a stretch even.
Yeah, well, actually 18 fights because he has 1 draw as well, so... Yeah, it was a poor showing there. And actually, their main event, the guy got...
came in with 17 fights.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Hernandez... Yeah, that's true. Hernandez was the main event on that, and it got cut underneath his eye, and they ended up having to stop that fight. And
Which Hernandez?
I can't think of his name. We've seen him in Cicero as well. He's a tough chair guy. But ended up getting cut underneath his eye.
Okay.
And...
You said under his eye, but then you pointed to over your eye.
It was basically over on the top of his eye. It was in his eyelid where he got cut, and the doctor ended up stopping that. He got knocked down the round before, and they probably stopped that fight because he thought he might have a good chance of losing.
Real quick, Friday night, Tampa, Florida, junior welterweight action. Daro Salas won a split decision after 8 rounds over DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. The guy who 10 years ago said that Oscar De La Hoya was ducking him. And Oscar said, who in the world is DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley? And then went ahead and got knocked out by De La Hoya.
Well, before we go to break, I want to bring up the Showbox card. Kirkland was on that. James Kirkland took on Alan Connors. Kirkland's 21-0, or improves to 21-0 with 18 KOs. Knocks out Connors here, who falls to 11-3 with 9 KOs. Kirkland's a top up-and-coming fighter, and ended up getting caught early. He's the top guy for Gary Shaw Promotions, one of the top guys with him, and he got caught early. This could have been round of the year. This could be round of the year. That's why I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
He gets caught early, goes down, stands up, and is standing in the corner ready to charge at his opponent, Kirkland is, and comes out instantly, starts throwing his punches wild, and catches Connors, sends him down. After Connors goes down, he's wobbly-legged for the rest of the round, and just getting hit a couple times. are getting hit a bunch of times throughout the round, staying on his feet, wobbling, shaking all over, grabbing the ropes to hold himself up, and the ref didn't stop him. Ends up getting hit from a jab, almost goes down from that. Then Kirkland lays into him and hits him hard. He goes down once, stands up, falls over again, actually grabs a ref on his way down, knocks the ref over, almost knocks the ref out of the ring. He almost falls out of the ring. It was kind of brings shades of the Tyson Burbick fight. Yeah, it was a great fight. Actually, the whole card was great. The other fight that was on there was a first round knockout as well. Another up and coming fighter from Gary Shaw as well. So I still love the show box. You're not as big a fan as it is me, but I think it's a great chance to see these guys that are on their way up.
I'm all for seeing fighters on their way up. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I apologize that we had to cram so many fights, but there were so many this week. Let's take another break. We'll be right back with the fighting school teacher of DeMott, Holmes. We'll be right back at you. It's your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.hssp.cc, sportsjuice.com.